Hello everyone, it's Victor the editor again. We have probably one more video before Cobalt gets home. I'm recording this on Friday, October 7th. Looks like Cobalt might just now be leaving the West Coast, so he should hopefully be back either tomorrow or Sunday. I'm not sure what his regiment is for travel, but hopefully he'll be back soon. So I've been getting a couple of questions on how I actually do this whole Twitch YouTube thing. So I thought instead of actually doing the Ask the Editor, because I've done 2 of those already this week, and there might be a little more planning and everything that goes into the top 10 list. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of show you guys what exactly goes on with managing the channel, that kind of thing. So I always start off on the video manager. I have a manager status basically on Twitch. So basically what I can do is I can look at any of these and highlight, but when you see these little red X's here, that means that there's copyrighted material that's been played. We can't edit specific parts that are flagged as having copyright. We can edit it, but it's all muted and it's no good. So just for an example here, I'll go ahead and pull up the last stream before TwitchCon. It was the NLSS.
On YouTube, I'm coming in the gym. I'm coming in.
Oh, that's a nice place to start off with. So. I usually start for NLSS right before, because they always do seeded runs. So I go right where the seed is. And then from there, I kind of click around until I do pay attention over here on the left, and I make sure, and this is why I love the item tracker. I can see kind of when you skip forward, you can see similar items like we have up here in the corner. We got the sin robes, and we've got the sin robes down here, and now we got the Polaroid. So I kind of skip forward looking for the Polaroid. Okay, we still have it here. I know that if I don't see the Polaroid or anything like that, then I've probably gone too far. So if I skip ahead to up here, yeah, see where it is, Hazel. Back a little more. Okay. And then usually there's a post-game celebration or a funny joke or
haha dick sticks, which would also be really
okay, and then we'd cut it right there. But then after that, I go through and I try to watch most of the video because I like titling things, and I usually put something in the description that's kind of like an inside joke based on if you watch the video all the way through or not. So for this one, I believe I named it... Oh, this is the Fred Durst one.
You know what? It's okay. Cobalt, I'll just strike. He strikes me as the kind of guy who's like, let's just get this. Are you sure?
Man, if you guys don't watch the NLSS episodes, I highly recommend watching them because everyone just melds really well together, and it's pretty funny. But then again, I've been watching Northern Lions since, good God, probably 2009 or so, back when Meat Boy first came out.
Cleverly done.
So it usually takes about 20 minutes per vid to kind of just look through it. To just kind of look through it and kind of see what I feel like I need to put on the channel, and then I go through, you describe the highlight, you title it. I've got my own certain rules for titling. I put the description there. Meanwhile, I do have a notepad that I sketch all this stuff down, so titles and descriptions don't really get lost. I keep track of episode numbers that way as well. So it's always good to have something to write everything down on that you'll keep. And then we'll just pretend that we'll... so this was Afterbirth, NLSS, Fred Durst, and we go create highlight, and then after that it's like, oh, do you want to make another highlight or anything like that? But just for time's sake, we're not really going to do that today. So after that, so let's go back here, and then we go over to our highlights because it saves it in the highlights. And so this is the Fred Durst. It used to be that we could export it to YouTube. For whatever reason, that feature no longer works properly. It worked from when I started to about, gosh, it must have been, I don't know, February of 2016, and that stopped working. And so I had to go to a third-party like Twitch video downloader, and for whatever reason that stopped working. So now I have a brand new one, and it's got tons of features, and I kind of want to show it off here. It's this Twitch Leecher VOD downloader here. You can see this right there is where you get it. It's incredibly useful, especially if you want to put like VODs onto YouTube and stuff. It's incredibly useful. So let's just pull it up here. So Twitch Leecher, whatever. So you basically just hit the search function, and I basically, if we go to my preferences, I've got it set up so every time I hit search, it defaults with Cobalt Streak's highlights and not his broadcasts. And then it's got like the temp folder that'll go into, and after it's done downloading, it goes to the download folder. And I actually have it set up so with the other ones, you couldn't set up just like a template for anything. It's just, you know, you have to name it then and there. And I actually have it set up so that whatever title I put in, it'll automatically download as that title. So if I, you know, title something in the highlights as Isaac Afterbirth, all that BS there, it'll actually save it as that, and that is a huge, because I use a lot of like weird characters sometimes. It's a huge like time saver. It's a great quality of life feature there, and I love it. So for shits and giggles, let's go ahead, do a search, and it'll pull the first 10 highlights on Cobalt's Twitch channel. So let's go. The Fred Durst, we can watch it in the browser, which I would want to do that, or we can download. And it pulls up the download dialog, and it saves it to this VOD folder that I have. And these things download incredibly quickly. One of my biggest complaints when I first started the channel is that exporting took way too long. It took probably 2 hours to export just a plain Jane like 40-minute run. This is 25 minutes. This one would have probably taken 12 minutes to download with the downloader I was using earlier, but this will download it in, I mean, like a minute and a half, and I'll be right in my VODs folder, and it's perfect. It's perfect, absolutely perfect. I love using this thing. It makes my job a lot easier. It's cut down time considerably, and then I could do, you know, more actual editing for stuff, like say if there's like a pee break or he's eating for a bit. Let's pull up what I use to edit, which is Cyberlink PowerDirector 12. It is not the fanciest piece of software out there. It's no Adobe Suite, that's for sure. So let's pull this over. But for what I use it for, it's very serviceable, and it's actually pretty cheap. I believe you can get copies for about 50 bucks. And it's very serviceable. It's a lot better than like some free Windows Movie Maker. There's a lot of stuff you can do. I don't even use most of the stuff that, you know, I would normally like. I don't use most of the features at all in this. So like you can, you know, cut out stuff if you want to actually keep the gap and put something in there. There's fine. There's multiple tracks. You can put voiceover, and that's what I'm going to be using for when I upload this part here. Is I'll put this recording in here, and then I'll just, you know, put a voiceover track. Sometimes I'll put a music track. Probably won't for this one. I might actually though, because it's kind of just me talking for extended periods of time, so that probably would be a good idea. And then like you can just put like random shit here. So let's look at our Cobalt folder. We can put like a Cobalt logo. Oh, just drag that over. Yeah. So like we could just, you know, stick a Cobalt logo and resize it. There's crazy shit you can do, like have it fade in and out. Ah, that's wrong. Gotta click that here. Have it fade in and out. There's like shadow, like chroma stuff. You can make stuff move, flip it. There's 3D settings that I haven't even like messed with yet. Like there's tons of stuff, like rotation. It's pretty crazy. Useful if you need it. It's not, again, nowhere near as advanced as like, you know, even like Sony Vegas or anything like that. But for the very trivial stuff that I work with, because I'm not like a professional video editor, I learned how to use it basically all by myself, and I'm not the smartest guy, but not the dumbest. And so from there, I would export probably back to the VODs folder. So let's get back into Twitch VODs, and then we would go over to the video channel manager part of YouTube. You can. This is kind of like this is how I experience YouTube now. You guys, this is YouTube to me, as I see views, I see likes. There was a lot of comments on these first two, which is I did not expect 54 comments on the first SD editor. That surpassed my expectations. And then from there we go to uploads, you know, and then, you know, drag it over. If it feels like it wants to do anything, it might not, because okay, there it goes. But then I'd make it private, and then from there, you know, add the thumbnail. Luckily I had it made already. This is the SD editor thumbnail actually. So let's go back. And you can see just how disheveled and disorganized all this kind of stuff turns into. Actually, for NLSS and Afterbirth, all that stuff's back here. So, and then if I wanted to, I could go into like what it goes, how I make a thumbnail. So let's
fucking seated.
I'm sorry.
Well, it's like I agree with Chad. They're like, it's like the Norse thing, where, you know, you're like Leif Erikson.
Okay.
But then, like, I'm assuming. Oh, you know what?
And now, basically, what I do here is let's get. I've got a thumbnail template that I've already set up for these. So let's get into. There's the template. Okay, and then I use GIMP. I don't have Photoshop. I use GIMP because I don't like paying for things. And so I've got just like 3 elements here. I've got like just a loose layer for, that's where I paste everything to. I've got the Afterbirth logo that I believe I had to make my own like template for this, because I made this before Afterbirth even came out, so I had to basically take all the crap off of the Afterbirth logo a while ago. And then there's the Cobalt logo. And then basically what I usually do is maximize this, find a good spot where there would be like a good thumbnail. Okay, so let's see if we can get Krampus's head. Okay, so let's slow things down a little bit here. Okay, and then I just go ahead and print screen that. And then because I use a dual monitor setup here, when I print it over, it doesn't quite hold over. So let's go ahead, switch the aspect ratio to 720. And then move it over. And then I'll go ahead and show you how I I've got a bunch of fonts that I use for thumbnails, but this is the typical Cobalt font is Carmatic Arcade 100. And then, you know, just Fred Durst. I don't use just plain old white because it's a little harsh, so I go for a little darker color. Excuse me, let's switch this over. So it doesn't pop out quite as much, it's not as harsh on the eyes as it used to be. And then I try and kind of line it up so that it's semi-centered with... Alright, okay. This is still going. Rockley smiles very slow because I had that slowed down. And so yeah, and then I would just save that, and then we'd upload that. And then I have a bunch of super secret tags that I use for YouTube that I've had friends like with jobs with MCNs, and I've got like a bunch of text files, and that's how I paste them there, and then I schedule it. You know, monetization, I do before and after ads, and if it's more than 20 or so minutes, then I put an ad in the middle. If it's more than 50 minutes, I put 2 ads in the middle. I try and space them out so you can go at least 10 minutes without seeing any ads. The ads do pay for what I do on the channel. We don't get a ton of ad revenue. Actually, Afterbirth is not a game in YouTube's library, so I always post it as Rebirth. But we are actually going to cancel this upload anyways. Yeah, we do get some income from monetization, but it's not a lot. And after our MCN gets, or our channel network gets their share of it, I get most of the rest. It's not a ton. It's definitely a lot less than what I'd be making if even if I was paid, I don't know, maybe like $8 an hour. But you know, I enjoy doing what I do here. I do it for a reason, because I enjoy it. I like interacting with everyone. Gives me something to do, and you know, the side income is pretty nice. Alright, so that's kind of the process on how I do this whole Twitch to YouTube thing. I hope it's kind of opened your eyes. Usually, from start to finish, to put I try and put 2 videos up a day. I know this week's been a little crazy, but two episodes up a day usually takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Now that I save a lot more time, but it used to be that I would get home at, you know, 6:30, and then from 6:30 to 7 I would eat dinner, and then from 7 until basically 10 or 10:30 is when I would do Cobalt stuff, and then I would go to sleep. Luckily I have a little more time on my hands now, thanks to just things that I've learned, and you know, especially this new Twitch leader. This is amazing. This is bae. I love it. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Have a great day.